Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 238th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I am your host, Vortex. Oh, hey, what's going on, Cart? Thank you so much. I am your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. On today's episode, actually, no, it is the 238th episode of D&D Discussions live stream. All of that good stuff, because I got interrupted. Anyway, we have the Skybreaker Vanguard coming from Cart, who just subbed. Thank you. And this is a martial subclass. So let's find out what is going on with that martial subclass. Bam. I gotta get Kage. There we go. Duan.
Getting in the studio.
All right. All right, so what do we got going on today? We got a subclass review.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, it's being weird. Let's go. All right, so we got the subclass. This Friday, by the way, anybody who's watching, I will update the Discord later, but we are going to be skipping this Friday. I'm going out of town, so no stream from me, but Kage might do one. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Maybe we can convince him. Y'all can convince him, but me, I won't be here. Next week we will probably try to do another OSR after all the updates are in from the last beta test. So yeah, expect that, not this Friday, but next Friday. The cross with the 1D day you don't have D&D. I figure out why that's on such a delay.
Oh, is that the alert for
yeah,
the subscriber?
It's so delayed though. That's crazy. Yeah, but of course. Sorry, Soul. Can't help it. Do a filler house painting stream. I mean, you could paint your wall green, and you could just green screen your wall instead of having orange. And you could just say a little bit. I mean, you could.
Interesting.
I mean, you could just paint it looks like a green square too. You don't have to paint the whole thing, but you could just get a green square on the wall and then just sit next to it.
Not a bad idea, to be honest.
So y'all just bug him in Discord, make him paint a green screen on his wall. He's turning around like he is considering it right now. Gotta talk to the landlord, be like, hey, can I paint this wall?
Like, would you get mad at me? Like, would it be alright?
What if I paint it back later?
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It was an accent wall that we painted after we got here anyway, so might work out.
Cart says it's not a good idea. Neon green would be atrocious.
Listen, my room does not need to be pretty. I have like 0 decorations in here. I'm not trying to. It's as long as it's functional. As long as it's functional, that's all that matters.
Functional is important. Functional is important. Gotta get yourself a tiny home. Sounds like that's what more of your vibe. No clutter, no mess, just absolute functionality.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, other than no stream on Friday and more beta testing to come, I have no other updates. So, I think we can move on to the review today. Get it done.
Yes.
Get in, get out. I'm definitely feeling the effects of going to class every day, going back to school.
Fair enough.
Oh, so I am not upset about quick streams. Not that I don't want to be here, not that I don't love you all after 3 years, but I'm exhausted right now, and I'm gonna only get more exhausted over the next couple months.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then I have to go back to regular work. Whatever. I get paid way too much money right now to complain.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't get paid enough, so I can complain about that, but I get paid too much to complain about going to school and getting paid for it.
Valid.
Can't spell class without ass. You know what? Maybe that's why we have to get our ass in there, is because, you know, if your ass isn't here, then how can you be in class? You know, we're talking about this too much, so let's go into the review. Let's get this done. We got that. All right, cool. So today, why is that there?
That's new.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that's why. It was a different filter for OSR.
Oh, interesting.
That's
right. I remember you were trying to fix that.
All right, cool. Here we go. So we have the Skybreaker Vanguard. We have a martial archetype from Cart. Skybreaker Vanguard. All I think of is like a Valkyrie, or like that's the first place my brain goes, like Valkyrie-ish. Next would be like celestial type. Almost like a radiant damage.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah, those are the first things that I think of, and then the only other thing else that I can think of like after that, I don't know why, but then it takes me to like a Dragon Rider style mindset.
I was thinking like Griffins, but yeah.
But for a fighter subclass, Skybreaker Vanguard, I'm thinking tanky and paladin feeling is my first expectation I get from that.
Okay. Now, just for a little bit of clarification, when I first received this, there was actually what I would consider minimal descriptions. It's mostly just raw mechanics, right?
Okay.
And so I kept a lot of the original formatting for this, and I think it actually gets directly to the point of like, here's what you can do, here's how this works, and you can get straight into the build or straight into playing whatever this thing is. So
that tracks.
To see how it reads, but yeah,
that tracks with what Cart just said in chat.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they made this in 2020. So the fact that you're saying that there's minimal description and it just is just like things you can do. I'm like, so that was Cart 6 years ago. Like. Think about what but think about what we normally get from Cart, and it's like, okay, that's the kind of development that you get to see when you do this for years, right? Like that's why one thing that the Oracle is so important for me is to go from just a storyteller that had an interesting story to having the Oracle that can lay out the entire structure of High Point is kind of like that, right? Like being able to see the difference between I made things and they did stuff, but now look what I do. Now look at all the descriptions and all the layers and all the ways that it connects and work. And it's like, I see that here. I see, you get to that point to where lore matters to the build and you start layering it within itself, the naming structures and the things that I like it. I like seeing a snippet from, where someone came from, what someone was doing in the past.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's start, as always, with the description. Oh, okay. I guess my first instinct or my second instinct of, I guess Valkyrie is usually considered like flying, maybe. Yeah. Okay, because first thing I see is aerial combat. So in the description, aerial combat specialist trained to dominate the skies, whether mounted on a dragon, griffin, or piloting an arcane war machine.
Let's go.
We literally, I think, just called all of those before we even read further. Like, I love that. That's absolutely phenomenal.
That's so funny.
All right. So yeah, we are a flyer, and we potentially get mounted. So it is specifically a mounted flyer. So. Calling out to being a dragon rider. I love the fact that I called that.
What's the other one that's also kind of mounted combat? Where the fighter? Let's see if I can look it up. I want to say it starts with a B or something like that. Subclasses.
A B.
No, Cavalier.
Oh, Cavalier. Yeah.
They are mounted combatants, but they're very much ground mounted. Like I would think chariots, literally just like riding on a rhino or maybe even an elephant or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm in so far. I'm immediately in. I want this so far. All right, so starting at level 3, we get Aerial Initiate. You gain proficiency with animal handling and vehicles air. I mean, both of those are necessary. So done. If you already have either, gain expertise, double proficiency. Love to see that. That is exactly what we want to see. That isn't necessarily a 5e mechanic, but makes more sense to do it that way. I like that. I like the way you used to think, Cart.
Absolutely.
Unless that was one of the updates you did last month. You gain Sky Bond. You can attempt to bond with a flying mount over 1 hour. Must be a CR less or equal to your level, a third of your level. Okay, so must be equal to or less than 1/3 of your level, minimum a quarter CR.
So, well, I would say if it's your level, you can't take this until you're at least a 3rd level fighter, which means a third of level 3 is 1. So you at least get CR 1 and below, just innately.
Right, and then but the minimum you start out with the quarter. So okay. But I like that. So you immediately start out with a quarter to a 1 CR. And then bond lasts until the creature dies or you bond with another one. I like that mechanic. That's a classic mechanic. While bonded, it adds your it adds your proficiency bonus to AC and saving throws. Ooh.
Oh.
So does that mean that that means that it gets your proficiency bonus when saving, or it gives you a bonus?
It adds your proficiency bonus too. So that would mean that the creature, adds my proficiency bonus to its AC.
It's AC, right? Okay, so it gets more powerful from you, not the other way around.
Yes, and here's the deal. It says while bonded, but I feel like it should be while you're riding it.
While mounted.
You're using your while mounted, yes, because then you're using your proficiency to help it get hit less, and you're helping it use its proficiency to protect it from whatever's coming after it that it has to make a saving throw for. So, like, that would make the most sense to me. Otherwise, there could be some like telepathic bond that enables you to add that while you're not mounted. But I could see either, depending on what was intended.
Yeah. So I like it. I think that's really nice. Although I do agree. I think while mounted makes the most sense. Or your bonded animal while mounted. That means it's not any animal you mount. I would say your bonded, your bond while mounted adds your proficiency. So that way it's only your mount or only your bonded mount, not any mount you do. But I unless we're talking like, I mean, there are other abilities that do that though, right? Like I think I think familiars get like a bonus to stuff based off of you, right?
There are a lot of things that like you can like summon certain creatures with spells that a lot of their attacks, a lot of their things are dependent upon your proficiency bonus and things that you have. So that's definitely a familiar mechanic in 5e, but I don't know unless it's in one of the other subclasses that gives you like a Beastmaster Ranger or the Artificer that creates a little companion.
Right.
I think maybe one of those, but outside of that, I can't imagine there's one like specifically well mounted.
Okay.
But
so yeah, just a potential option for DMs. I don't think it matters that much because I do think that there's room for both. I think it just sounds better while it's mounted. And then the last one, it understands you perfectly. No action required to command it in combat. I love that.
Yeah. I would say a lot of the times in 5e, they make a connection like this telepathic. I feel like, especially because this isn't like a creature that you summon, that this is literally just a creature that's out there, and through your bond, you've learned to command. It's like somebody who teaches their dog how to do certain things on command, right?
Yeah.
A dog knows what your commands are. So if you teach it in German, it's going to know it in German. If you teach it in English, it's going to know it in English. So I totally get that mentality. And I can get behind that, even if you have to verbally speak it out. And I actually don't mind having to verbally speak it out because it's a non-magical creature. It's a creature you can just find in nature. So you're gonna have to learn to communicate with it anyways.
Yeah, I like this idea. I would just like more details, because at this point there's no language that says what it does in combat. So the fact that it says, well, I can command it, but normally there's some sort of verbiage that says, you know, it acts on its own, it acts on your turn, it has its own initiative. There's some sort of guidance on when in combat and unmount. Because when you're mounted, it's just you know, it's just you and it, whatever it can do. But once you're dismounted, there's no language that says it acts on your turn, it only acts defensively without a command. Like usually there's something that indicates why I need to command it or what I can command it to do. So I would just put in there, you know, while unmounted, it acts defensively unless commanded would be perfect. And then that way I at least know it's just going to chill and defend itself. I know it has an attack. I know it can, like, you know, maybe it's a dragon, or maybe it's, you know, a unicorn, maybe it's a griffin. Like they all have their own types of attacks. But, or I said unicorn, Pegasus. But being, you know, the idea that they all have their own levels of attack. So having something that's a default at least gives me a reason of, oh yeah, I can command it to attack something else, or I can command it to come get me, right? You know, I would love to, because what that gives me the idea of is when you have a class like this that has a built-in familiar or a built-in like partnership, what would be really nice is having an upgrade to that, right? Like where it starts out, it will act defensively unless you command it otherwise, like while unmounted. I would love an upgrade at maybe like level 10, where it says your bond has grown and it understands you, and it understands not only you but your needs. So while in combat, it will always it will always be at your side or to your back, preventing like opportunity attacks, or maybe it could even prevent like attacks of opportunity, or it can take its place. Or if you have to make a saving throw, it can make a reaction to pick you up and move you, like fly you away. Like, so there's these alternative options to where, because you think about like a guard dog, right, where you can train it to be like at your side, between your legs, behind you. Like the idea of, if this is going to be a bond that you can grow at a later level, being able to have this thing go from it will defend itself to it will be on my side and defending me. If something tries to attack me from behind, it will defend me, right? It won't let something crowd me away. So it's like, if it's always, you know, if you move, it just moves with you. So it always like puts its move command. Like if it you know, it's always on your initiative, so it always moves with you kind of stuff. I feel like that would be a really fun upgrade to really make it feel like your bond and its defensive aspects have grown.
Agree. So I'm trying.
Thanks, Boxer. I appreciate it, but go to bed.
Wild. Thanks for stopping in. But I'm looking in here to see what would be possible for this person to use when it comes to dragons, because dragons were mentioned earlier. So the only types of dragons that are going to be CRs low enough for them to use are wormlings.
Okay, good night to you two guys.
That's not... Good night, Fox. We appreciate you, man. But for the most part, wormlings are medium-sized creatures. Now, I would still say, because... What's your experience in D&D? Like, does it have to be a size larger than you for you to mount it?
No, I don't think so. Because, wait, is a horse considered a large creature?
Yes.
What's the smallest creature you can mount?
I've seen small creatures mount dogs. When dogs are medium-sized creatures. But like, I've seen like gnomes and goblins and stuff like that, but
no, a mount must be at least one size category larger.
See, that's what I'm thinking. So
a worm would not be rideable by a standard.
With this restriction, when I'm looking at dragons, the majority of dragons, I think the lowest CR I found in here was 12. And even at level 20, a third of that, what's a third of 20? Why is that so hard for me right now? I feel like it's 7 or 6. 7 would be 21. But we'll say it's 7. The highest CR you could get in this position would be a CR 7 creature. So
oh yeah,
I would say.
Let's say, so wait, we're talking about what's the highest CR creature you can get at level 20?
7, and that's if you're rounding up.
So technically you can ride, let's see, what is that? Large. Okay, yeah, so you can ride, your max would be a young dragon. Young dragon CR7.
Young?
Yeah, if you look at it specifically like a young black dragon, young copper dragon, they are considered a CR7. A wyvern or a young brass dragon is a CR6. Technically, a deep dragon is a CR5. A young deep dragon. A red dragon wormling is a CR4. But let me double check the size of it. Medium. No. Okay. So wormlings you can't do. Wormlings. What about drakes?
Okay.
Drakes are medium.
Yeah, drakes are medium.
Drakes are medium.
But young dragons, that is a good answer to my question, because I was trying to figure out, because the majority of the dragons that I was seeing were also size huge. So I don't know why these didn't come up when I first.
I think it's because most people just look up like adult dragons. I think that's the standard, because adult, then there's ancient, and then there's like the named ones, right? But yeah, so I think the idea would be, yeah, you can get down to or up to a young dragon, and that makes sense, right? Like you get a dragon at a very young age, it finally grows up that you can ride it, but eventually it's going to get so powerful that it's going to have, you're going to like, it's one of those like, hey man, you're no longer a dragon that is like going to allow to be tamed. You're like, bro, I'm 100 years old. Get the fuck off me now. And then you're going to go and be a dragon for another 1,000 years. Like, I get that idea. So yeah, I guess it's possible.
It would be really cool. I think it'd be really cool for you to like be a character, like maybe you start off with like a Pegasus or something like that, but like you start off with this dragon egg, and then you like raise this dragon egg all the way up, and then finally when it becomes a young dragon and it's actually big enough for you to ride, you're level 20 and you can actually tame this thing and ride it. Like that would be a fire capstone. That
would actually be fucking dope. Like, you could even, dude, why not just make a subclass over that, right? Like, choose whatever main class makes the most sense, like fighter or whatever, and just kind of like this does, right? Instead of it being you can bond at a certain level, say that at level 1 you're given an egg. At level 3 it hatches. At level 5 it's a drake. When you get to level 10, it suddenly becomes like a medium dragon. At level 15, a young dragon you can ride. And then at level 20, an adult, like, you know what I mean? Like for whatever magical reasons, like whatever the idea is, it's tied to you. The more you upgrade, the more it upgrades. And the fact that it could at one point be rideable for part of the campaign. And then at the end of the campaign, the idea is that you can kind of let it go, kind of like Genie, right? Like you're just like, hey man, you've been with me the whole ride, but like you're an adult now. You don't need a human to like tell you what to do. And then, you know, like the DM could take that and whether or not it's a good story or whatever. But there's a cool subclass right there where you get this creature that, I mean, granted, how do you, guarantee that it stays alive, all of that kind of, whatever. But you can make a respawn mechanic for it. Like, if it ever dies, it comes back. But it comes back like at the last time or what, like at a certain like stage.
Sure. You could even make it like a spirit dragon or something like that.
Yeah. I think there's something there, but cool. I like this. Again, just more verbiage on how it acts in combat. That's my only thing for this one. Also we get mounted aerial combat or combatant on level 3. While mounted on a flying creature, you have advantage on melee attacks against creatures smaller than your mount.
Cool.
And you can direct attacks targeting your mount to yourself as a reaction.
So I will say this, especially as a fighter, and the fact that you get so many different attacks, I might, especially, well, at level 3, you still only get one attack, so it's basically every attack. But saying the first attack on your turn gets advantage rather than every attack gets advantage. Because for the most part, if you're fighting humanoids, everything's going to be smaller than you. Like, everything's going to be smaller than you. Yeah, there's going to be other stuff you fight in D&D for sure. But if for whatever reason you attack.
Honestly, because you're right, like like you have to have a large, I would go the opposite. I'd say that while mounted, you have advantage on melee attacks against creatures larger than you.
Interesting.
Because now you have some, like, basically, you know, the whole fight something your own size. You are now their size. Even one size larger than you, meaning if you're medium, you can now get advantage on large creatures. But if you're small, you now get advantage on medium creatures. And the idea is because you're on something that's now faster, more capable, and brings you up to their level. So even though you could say it makes you on evil plane, but the point is you were already at a disadvantage. So now your lack of disadvantage looks like advantage. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I would logically look at it, is the reason why you get advantage on it is because you are out of the disadvantage element, which in the opposite way to them looks like you're just that much better.
Would you say that it would be the first attack or every attack when it comes to the large?
I think in 5e, the first attack makes the most sense. Especially for a fighter, I think 5e would accept that a lot better.
Sure.
But if you are going against,
that says for a minute you get it on every attack, like, that would be cool.
I will say
static and passive.
I will say, if we keep it on creatures smaller than your mount, it has to be on the first attack only. Of every turn, it can be once a turn. It just has to be on the first attack only. If it's on creatures larger, I don't mind it being every attack. Just because, again, it's the idea of how often you're gonna really be against larger creatures than you. I feel like that's worthy to keep it constant, or at least, again, just one size larger, right? So basically only large creatures. But
I would say that you'd have to specify large and larger creatures, because anybody who plays a small creature able to
I would say once I would say first attack if it's smaller, any attack if it's one size larger than you, and that's it. Those are the two that I would be totally okay with.
Okay. I feel that.
But you know, again, that's totally also a DM like a DM call. I think for, you know, anybody who knows how they want to run their own combat. I like the redirected attacks to you. It's interesting because the mount's a lot easier to target, so it's more interesting that it wouldn't be the other way around, but I think that would be too obvious.
Well, I think you are trying to keep, number one, as a player, you're trying to keep your mount alive more than anything, right? Because if your mount dies for whatever reason, you have to go find another mount.
Yeah.
Right? So, keeping your mount alive, I feel like, is important, and you feel like it'll be like easier to just deal with healing you rather than healing you and your mount. So if I would appreciate the ability to do that. Like, I wouldn't want to redirect it into my mount and then my mount go down and then I can't fly anymore.
True.
Like,
but
I'd much rather...
I would like the option. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if it's either. I wouldn't mind as a reaction, you can redirect attacks to yourself or to your mount. Because there are times where you could be trying to get away and an attack's coming in and your mount's at full health and you're like, bro, take it for me, because we're almost leaving. Versus the other way around. Sure. Your mount's about to die and you're like, nah, I got full health, let me take it. And that's the thing, is like, there's definitely arguments for both sides, and I don't think either side has more options. I think they're both equally possible, but I don't think it's absurd to say that as a master combatant, being able to just shift the weight to one of you takes it, the other one does, and maybe that's an upgrade, but I also wouldn't mind the option. because there are times
Sure.
where I don't want to take the hit. You know what I mean? Like, if one of us is going to take the hit, don't let it be me. Oh, and think about this. We're talking about dragons. What if you got a young red dragon and a fireball's coming your way? Wouldn't you want to just turn the dragon around and let it fucking tank a fireball, which it does no damage?
Sure.
So very rare, but I'm just saying, like, there might be a time where that direction could be more beneficial than you trying to save your mount. But I do agree with you. The point of this class would be to protect the mount, because that's what players do.
I was about to ask what type of attacks you think this can work with, because I was thinking about your fireball suggestion, and the only problem with that is that one doesn't actually target anyone. It's AoE. And so I'm curious, I was started thinking about, does this work with saving throws, or is this just like roll to hit attacks?
That's right. It did say attacks targeting. But like Firebolt.
So Firebolt, even Scorching Ray, like you could theoretically redirect those to your mount. And again, if they're immune to fire or something like that would be a kind of choice situation. So I also wouldn't mind choosing one or the other. But yeah, okay. I can see that.
Things to think about. Options. Opinions. Okay. Let's see. So